I honestly think to myself, if more isekai had their MCs land on a giant chested woman, whether fairy, monster, whatever it may be, and they could just casually party out with them, as our boy just did, we might achieve world peace. What a wild end to this show. I'm not going to be taking further questions, this is just isekai gold. After meeting up with his long lost love, who said, hey, you got life in your eyes, I ain't gonna jump off this balcony with you, decided to drive off a cliff, and in doing so, he met up with a giant fairy who blessed him and gave him a whistle that in times of crisis, the fairies will come help him. And he immediately uses it to pick up a statue. This is simultaneously the best and worst character all in one, and if they don't confirm a season 2, I will be very, very sad. I have those full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full and good thought to any of these wonderful episodes over there exclusively. I might actually argue this is his worst moment today. This is a guy who's been making people drag him around in a coffin through a goddamn desert and who knows what other else of terrain this entire show. He finally gets a mobilized coffin that he can drive around in. And the worst part is his little fuzzball friend can turn into a magic carpet ride, so he's never needed anyone to drag him. He's just done that. And if you want to try to defend the action saying, well, he can't always transform, then you take a break. You add wheels. There's a lot of ways rather than making them drag you around. But using the legendary whistle to have a little fairy not use magic with a rope trying to pull a statue back together. He has a slave. This man, as he drives through buildings and causes a ruckus, is gonna blow a goddamn grape whistle, which is really what it is. And no magic, just servitude. That is fantastic. That has to be his worst moment, man. The only way it would have been topped is if he found a way to make the girl from last week, who was an old woman but actually, wasn't supposed to be, if he made her drag him around. Though if they don't have the joke of him trying to end his life with his car, it's going to be very much a missed opportunity, because think about it, right? You park in a closed environment, you let the car run, you try to, dive through the fumes. He has to try that at some point, right? It would be a missed opportunity otherwise. But we did get quite a bit of information, a little tease for where things can go. The biggest one to me was actually what they did with Nier. So, turns out, I guess his dad was the legendary hero, right? That's kind of the implication that we're getting from everything here. And his sword is apparently Excalibur, because not only did it shatter that one demon-looking dude's sword, everyone who sees it's like, hey, you ain't worthy, but someday you will be. Very interesting stuff. Definitely gets you excited for season 2. Says, oh, this is more than just a random character we're going to be tagging along with. Had a great moment a couple episodes back when he helped that one dude who was near the orphanage arc. Very good stuff there. But out of all the characters, definitely the least developed. So it was kind of nice having a little bit of moments there. Personally, for me, though, the big thing was I hope they at least show us a little Sachan. And they did. And it's interesting because the big characteristic about Sensei is if someone wants to die, he's right there ready to push you off a cliff. But if he gets a sense that you don't actually want to, he'll push you away. And it's very interesting because the tables have been turned and kind of Uno reversed, because she did the same thing to him. He's like, hey, I finally found you, let's jump. Romantic, huh? They finally reunite, they just want to jump off a balcony. And then she says, you have light in your eyes. And he's like, I swear to God, I don't. And she walks away. Very interesting. Little Queen of Demon Lord Castle here has got a lot going on. And if we're going off of, the fairy and everyone, that's apparently going to be his soulmate. So, by the end of it, hopefully, I would, based on how the show's developing, I think a very good end would be a positive end where, they both realize they don't need to jump off the balcony. If they wanted to go sick and twisted with it, they'll commit to it. But honestly, it might be kind of a dark, ironic ending if he actually committed to it. But either way, they set up the stuff they show you the stuff you want to see just to kind of get that last little bit of what we needed in season 1 while getting us to be excited for a season 2 if we get lucky enough to see it. While the rest of it was just what you needed. It was funny. There's these 3 trials and he's not even driving. He's just driving in a straight line and he goes to bed as he runs through everything. and he lands on this giant chested woman. And honestly, I know some people in the anime community, they got that giant fetish, you know? They're like, yes, take me. But I've never really understood. I guess maybe because I grew up on Futurama, and Death by Snoo Snoo, they were not attractive character models, so I guess it kind of set me up to be like, I don't really see what all the hubbub's about. I kind of had a different change of tune when watching this episode, I ain't gonna lie. He landed on her, and I said, you know what? This is heaven. Our boy literally thought he died. He's like, yep, I finally died. This is exactly what I was hoping it would be like. Landing on a giant-chested beauty. That was his heaven. The fact that when they're like discussing like, hey, he has the blessing of the tree spirit, right? What did she give you? Drugs. And he just shows the endless bottle like, hey, no matter how many of these I take, it's endless. You want some? Why? Like, the immediate reaction is, why did she do that? And I wasn't sure what he was gonna get. I think the whistle's the perfect thing because it adds to the comedy. Because can you imagine as season 2, if every time a minor inconvenience happens, he blows the whistle? He's going to do that like 30 times in a row, and at some point there's going to be a legitimate issue, and either it's going to be the boy who cried wolf and she will refuse to come, or she will come with probably a mop and a bucket being like, yeah, what you mess up this time? What mess do I have to clean? And it's going to be goddamn Godzilla in front of her. The comedy kind of writes itself, and it's going to be amazing, but it's the fact that this poor girl, so she has, I guess, a twin sister fairy based on, you know, her saying, you know, sis, you know, good luck there. And then there's the queen fairy who's just large and in charge. They looked at her dead ass unironically and said, yep, just do what he asks. He immediately uses the whistle to pick up a statue that he disrespected multiple times and changed the form to make it look like the hero was just a punk ass bitch. And it's not like she has magic that she can levitate it up. A little fairy had to tie a rope to pull it up. That is his worst moment yet. The only thing that would have topped it is if he made old grandma carry his bitch ass in a coffin. And honestly, there's probably enough old ladies in this world that it could still be a possibility. That thing's going to run out of gas. That thing's going to have a flat tire. And there's going to be an old woman probably having to push him, isn't there? I feel so bad for this fairy, man. That whistle is going to get abused more than people who attended a Diddy party. Let me know your thoughts down below on this season of No Longer Allowed in Another World. How much do you want to see a season 2? How satisfied are you with how they left off season 1? Let me know down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Sleeping Night, Riptide, Valorix, Adam Dundorf, David Story, Travis Reigns, Athmil, Big Boy J, Cryptic, and we also have Blood iOS. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.